And at first, a very important characteristic of life force, which is the concept of negative entropy or reversed entropy. The research of Franz Anton Mesmer, Karl von Reichenbach and Wilhelm Reich were gigantic steps towards our scientific understanding of the characteristics of life force, and ultimately to the understanding of action at a distance, which is often referred to as magic. Wilhelm Reich was the first scientist who recognized that life force, or organ as he called it, follows the principle of negative entropy. To understand this principle, let's first explain what I mean with entropy. Entropy is a term which appears in physics. Physicists observe that two energy systems of different potentials end up with the same potential sometime after they came in contact with each other. It's an establishing of balance. For instance, if you bring a hot object in contact with a cold object, both objects will have the same temperature after some time. And the energy which the physicist refers to here, of course, which we know is electromagnetic in nature. It's warmth. And the average academic physicist of our day is still hostile to the concept of life energy. So entropy is the only thing that exists for them. Life force operates the opposite way. If you bring an object with a high potential of life force in contact with an object that has a low potential, the object with the higher potential will draw from the object with the lower potential. I like to make sometimes the joke, the rich get richer. This second observation, which Wilhelm Reich made, was the following: organic matter attracts and holds on organ energy, while metallic matter attracts and immediately repels organ, as he called life force. He designed his organ accumulators following these two principles. And the same principle actually were active in Mesmer's barrels that were filled with iron filing. However, Mesmer, I think, was not aware of these characteristics of life force. He built his barrels following ideas of some of his predecessors, especially a Jesuit monk with the name of Hell. It means bright. It doesn't mean what it means in English. A Reichen organ accumulator is a box which is composed of alternating layers of organic and metallic materials. The outermost layer is organic, while the innermost layer is metallic. And as a consequence, there will be a flow of organ energy from the outside of the organ box to the inside. The life force inside the accumulator will become stronger and stronger. And according to Reich, a thermometer on the inside of the organ box shows consistently a higher temperature. This fact contradicts the law of entropy. According to the second law of thermodynamics, the inside of the box should actually have the same temperature as the outside after a while. Wilhelm Reich has also made another important observation. An electroscope discharges much faster in an atmosphere that has a high organ potential. This characteristic allowed Reich to measure the strength of fields of life energy. If we consider this characteristic of life force and the fact that the inside of an organ box is warmer than its surrounding, we must realize that there is an interface between the space-time that physicists describe and the space-time that is built up by life energy. Wilhelm Reich was a medical doctor, and therefore he used organ energy for healing purposes mainly. This, of course, brought medical traditionalists on the plan with the usual consequences. Reich went on to use his discoveries to build devices which he called cloudbusters, and again they were based on the reverse entropy principle, and he used these devices to influence the weather by forming clouds and destroying them using those principles of reverse entropy, as he describes in a book called Cosmic Organ Engineering. Reich also discovered a variance of orgon which was stagnant, and he called this energy deadly orgon, or DOR. He used cloudbusters to remove clouds of DOR which are hostile to life, and he removed it from the atmosphere. For nearly 40 years after Reich's passing, virtually nothing happened in the science of organ physics. Magicians such as Israel Regardie realized that knowledge of organ physics is useful for the study of magic. He recommends the study of Reich's works in the introduction to his manual of the Golden Dawn system. He had the right insights, but being a traditionalist, he was incapable of accepting the consequences and freeing himself from the traditions he grew up in. Most of the people which followed Reich remained satisfied in conducting cloud-busting experiments and building organ accumulators. They overlooked that Reich's genius opened up a vast field of new technologies. And some of the copycats nowadays, they build organ accumulators and they feel it and they think it generates it. It would be as if I charge a car battery, which is an accumulator, and then test the electricity of it, and since it has more than the surroundings, I say it generates electricity. It's equally stupid. Reich and others developed scientific models which eventually turned out to be stepping stones towards the scientific understanding of life energy and ultimately magic, and towards my development of scientific mappings of magical practices. Mappings which did already lead to new magical technologies or technologies of action at a distance. This became even more evident after my invention of the generator of life energy, and a material that attracts organ energy or life force, which is much stronger than the Reichian setup of alternating layers of organic and metallic materials. What bothered me a bit was not so much that the material was copied and misunderstood. What bothered me was that the word which I coined for this material, orgonite, was hijacked by some folks who did not understand much of its function, and who are also obsessed with, let's call it, conspiracidiosis.